Hey everyone, Steve Campbell here with Kevin McCarter. We are involved in helping you with a retirement plan, whether you're in our 401k or you're in a simple IRA. We at SweetK are the team that is involved with helping you really make sure that your accounts are doing what you want them to do. We have different resources that are available to you that quickly at the beginning we just want to make known to you. You have an entire portal created just for you at 401ktime.com. That's 401ktime.com. On here, you're going to have everything from blogs, videos like this. There's even a risk tolerance questionnaire. There's ways that you can connect it with our team to schedule your free annual review each and every year. If you haven't done that yet, we would encourage you to do so. But part of our heart of being attached to these retirement plans is to really provide you not just education, but really high quality education. Let's take topics that are sometimes seen as financial literacy and really expand upon them in a way that can really be unique to your life so you can take it and run with it. So typically what we've been doing is writing a blog piece for you as a participant or an employee in a plan that can help describe some topic. But then we thought, let's also bring it to life via a video, take those ideas and again, really run with them and describe them further. And one of the questions that we always get dealing with, participants in 401ks and simple plans, which is really around this idea of risk and should my account or should my accounts all have the same level of risk? And I'm going to kind of tee Kevin up here because we really think that there might be two groups that might be watching this video. Maybe you are somebody who has been at your employer for a long time, or you're young in your career. The only retirement account you have is what your employer provides for you. So you only have one account. So the question is, should that account have a level of risk across the entire account? But what if you're somebody who's married, you have a significant other, you worked at previous places, you've built up different assets across different types of accounts. So you not only have a 401k or a simple IRA, but your spouse also has something. Maybe you have traditional or Roth IRAs. Should all of those accounts basically have the same investments or have the same level of risk? So I think this is going to be a fun, fairly short conversation today, really to give you some takeaways that you can run with. But Kevin, if a participant came to you today and said, Kev, how should I look at risk? Should all my accounts have the same level of risk? What would be kind of a good starting point or structure that can help them think through these things?
Yeah, great question. I would start off with saying, going high level here. First things first, we got to understand what's the purpose of
Yep.
that account. If that account, as you mentioned, somebody just getting started, that account probably is just a retirement account. If we know that that is the purpose, that is the objective we should try to accomplish, and that is how we should set our risk tolerance. Going to the other scenario of somebody that has multiple types of accounts, right? Some of those accounts might be oriented towards retirement. Some of those accounts might be oriented towards paying for college for their kids someday or going on that vacation next year. Depending on whatever that purpose is of that account, that determines what we should do with it, how it should be invested. And then there's some things we'll talk about here in a little bit about how ways we can pour some gasoline on this and really, really optimize some things. But
But can
first
I
things
stop you right there just for 1 second? What I've experienced is when you say the word purpose, there might be somebody who's listening. It sounds so elementary, but like, why are you actually investing?
first,
A lot of times you meet with employees that just are like, yeah, I got this 401k plan. And if you ask them, like, great. So, like, what are you invested in? They're like, I don't know. Sometimes you're talking about people that have accumulated 30, 40, $50,000 of hard-earned money of their wages going into a plan. Sometimes people that are closer or have really done a great job saving could have hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And the spectrum of what I've discovered is, yeah, sometimes you got people that are Johnny on the spot and know everything that's going on in their accounts. But a large group of people, regardless of if they have a small amount or multiple millions, sometimes you'll ask people like, so talk to me about like your investments. How did you choose them? How did we get to where you are? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I just put money in there. And think about like, would we do that in any other part of our life?
mm,
Like with your bank account, you wouldn't just let like $75,000 just kind of like willy nilly happen. But when it comes to our retirement account, maybe because sometimes when
it's
we're
so
going to
far
actually
off.
access this money down the road is so far down the road, it doesn't seem real or tangible. Well, we want to bring you a little bit of insight today that can help you realize, even if you're 15, 20, 30 years away, really take ownership of what you're doing with your money, because the last thing we want you to do is get to the end of this thing and say, I wish I would have known this. So Kev, take it away when you're talking about purpose in some of these areas.
Yeah. And so, the purpose of a lot of these accounts, like we said earlier, is about retirement or
Mhm.
funding a college or funding a goal. And whenever we are talking about this, like you said, we need to be very intentional about the manner we approach these goals and these purposes. We don't want to say, I hope the kids' college is going to be funded. I hope we're going to have enough for retirement. We should know what
Yep.
trajectory we're on and where we're going to be able to maybe ramp up contributions. And, we're talking today about risk tolerances and should each account be the same risk. And again, first things first is what's the purpose of the account? And then once we know the purpose of the account, we know the objective, we build out our projections to say, are we on track or not? The next piece of this we got to get to is what is the required rate of return we need to have so that with everything we're going to be doing along the way, it gets us to that purpose, gets us to that goal. And that goes into the investment piece of you should at least know a roundabout figure. What has your investments done? Is that enough, or does it cross that threshold, that required rate of return on there? And like these plans, they have data to say in the past year, what rate of return has it done? Past 3 years, 5 years, 10 years since inception of the fund. What has it done? And so it's very important we stay on the ball with this. And really, those two areas are the ones that are applicable to pretty much everybody, right? There's two more areas I want to talk about here, or actually 2.5, we'll say 2.5 more
Little
areas.
bonus.
That's right, a little bonus one. But the having a purpose for your money, knowing what path you're on with it, and then knowing what required return you got to have to get there, that accomplishes the intentionality piece of making sure we are on track there. And now, another really interesting way that we can pull levers in our plans and pull levers in our life and our finances is understanding the tax nature of our different accounts, because this goes into too, should each account have the different risk levels, because they're going to be taxed a little differently.
Yep.
Right? Pre-tax accounts, they get taxed when you pull money out. Roth accounts, they're tax-free on the money forever. And then any sort of taxable accounts or brokerage accounts or individual accounts or joint accounts, if you heard any of these sort of words here, those actually are taxed on an entirely different subset of tax rules as capital gains. And so knowing how each of these rules affect each other and maybe where we want money to be growing, if we know that in our pre-tax accounts, we're going to be paying taxes on it when we pull money out, versus our Roth accounts, that money's tax-free, we might say, heck, I want all my growth to go into my Roth, right? I want to make sure that money goes tax-free forever. That one grows to the biggest pot of money possible. And then two with this, as we're talking about the required rate of return, as you said earlier, what if our required rate of return is hypothetical 6%, right? We need to make 6% every year to get to that. And let's say we do our math and we do our due diligence on our investment options we have, and we say, hey, I could be 60% stocks, 40% bonds, and that gets me to my 6% required rate of return, right? And now this goes into Steve, you brought up, what if one spouse has a 401k, another spouse has another 401k at their job, one spouse has a Roth option, and one spouse has a no Roth option, it's all pre-tax. Maybe they can do a high household allocation. Maybe we say, hey, the Roth money, it goes all stocks, 100% stocks, has all the growth. And the other account, maybe it goes 40% stocks, 60% bonds, and it gets to that allocation we're wanting to get to, and it preferentially allows the tax-free money to grow as fast as possible.
Yeah, and a great just real life example of this is, I've had the pleasure of for over a decade meeting with people that are still working, building towards retirement, retirees, everybody in between, reviewing their investment accounts. And there's a huge word that people throw around, which is I want to be diversified, or I don't want all my eggs in one basket. And so what happens is you're like, okay, let's look at your account. Sometimes it's like people literally opening envelopes as they're talking to you. And it's like, when's the last time you really looked at this money? But what's wild is when you talk with people, they may have a feeling of security, feeling that they're diversified, but yet their emotional ability to withstand downturns in the market is like plummeting. And the reason being is that they may not actually understand how much risk they're actually taking. So when they look at their 401ks or their simple accounts or their IRAs, maybe they own 5, 10, 15 different mutual funds. So in their mind, they're thinking, I've got my money spread out across all these accounts. But what's crazy is when you really pop the hood under some of these mutual funds, this is just a real life example. They may not understand that if every single mutual fund company out there believes that Apple is a great company that makes great products, so they want to own a piece of Apple in all of their mutual funds, what happens then is that people will have Apple across every single different account, and they don't have the ability then to understand that they're taking more risk than necessary because, again, they own the same type of securities across all their accounts without realizing it. So part of this risk conversation, I think what you're talking about is like you can go super deep as you want. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, let's make sure we understand the purpose of the investments, what we're building towards our time horizon. But then when you talk about things like householding, that's like next level stuff,
Yeah.
which is like if every account serves a purpose from a taxable standpoint, what have you, then let's understand, how to take advantage of that and what we can do.
Yeah. And the last piece here, this is the last piece, and there's the half on top. The half on top is just pulling all this together. But the next piece of this is with, you understand your purpose, you understand your required rate of return, you understand the tax nature of your different accounts. You're able to build up your projections and say, this is where we are today. This is where we're going to be in retirement. We're going to have enough money. The next piece is how much of that's your money? And then how much of that is the kids' money?
Yep.
And the idea with this is, let's say you need $50,000 a year for the next 30 years, and that equals $1.5 million, right? And let's say hypothetically in your investment account, you get to retirement and you have $2 million in your investment account. You only need 1.5 million, but you got two. So 1.5 million is your money, and the other 500,000 on top, that's the kids' money. And so whenever we start talking about the asset or how we want the different investment accounts to grow, we might say, hey, we're going to invest our money to what our purpose is, our required rate of return. But we're going to invest the kids' money, that extra $500,000 on top. We're going to invest it with the kids' purpose in mind,
Yep.
their future retirement, their required rate of return, and let that money grow as fast as possible for them.
Yep.
Right? And so a ton of different strategies there. And, these things like Steve's talking about, it's just some high level stuff of householding these pieces here, understanding what your unique projection is. What a portion of your accounts is your money? How should your money be invested? And then if there is any gravy on top that we know you're going to outlive, is going to pass on to the kids, how should that money be invested as well? Building this generational wealth, this legacy effect here. Because, this is your money, it's your life. It's important that you have the purpose here in mind of what you want to be passing on and the impacts you want to be leaving.
Yeah. And it's at the end of the day, folks, don't remember, it's your hard-earned money. So anything that you put an investment in has the ability to have risk involved. We just want you to understand, if you have all the information in front of you, then we believe that we can make wise decisions if we have all the information. But what happens is a lot of times when it comes to investing, people chalk it up to, I don't understand it, so I don't want to look at it, so I'm just going to close my eyes for 20 years. If you've ever bought a home or a vehicle or whatever, you understand quality when you see it versus garbage. What if we told you that many times people's investments has a lot more garbage than quality? And what if through risk analysis, we could understand how do we own more of the good stuff that's helping us get towards our goal and get rid of the stuff that doesn't? And if you're like, Steve, Kevin, how do I even begin? Head over to 401ktime.com. Hit that contact us button, schedule your annual review. We will help you understand what role we can play in helping you understand your investments. And if you should have any questions that go beyond your retirement plan, we can also help you understand how we can help you beyond if you have a spouse or a significant other making money decisions. So I think we wanted to bring you a timely conversation because the world is crazy right now. Things are happening. You're looking at the stock market. You're wondering what's going on with my money. Those are all real things, but that is you're worrying about something without even first paying attention to the main part, which is what is the purpose of what you're trying to do? Because this stuff's going to continue to happen, folks. So again, we appreciate your time today. We hope this inspires you to go get the most from your money in life. Until next time, thanks for stopping by.